Welcome to the Gospel Hour with David. Today we're going to be going over a nice little Bible study at chapters 10 of the book of 1 Corinthians, the letter of Paul to the Corinthians. I am David, and if you've been a follower of mine or been following along for some time, you may have noticed that I haven't been making as many videos as I normally do. And it's kind of dwindled down a bit. But in that, I've been working, trying to find work, and trying to find a source of income. Because, for the past 6 years, I've been preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ at no cost to anybody. And I do it out of my own free will. It's amazing that, I just for last week and 2 days this week was working for a road construction company. And they build roads and do all the things to maintenance those roads. And I had to do something to get an income, right? We all need to live and survive in this world, but at what cost are we going to subject ourselves to what amount or degree of suffering are we willing to put ourselves through for the sake of money? Just the sake of money. And it's amazing to me, I could go 6 years, 10 years preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, and money has absolutely no effect on my decision what to do, whether I'm getting paid to do it or not getting paid to do it. I do it out of love of God, and there's nothing I love doing more than preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's in me, and I love it. If I had a choice, if I had free will, I would choose to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ endlessly. Like you can make me a radio guy at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would preach all the way till 12 o'clock that evening. Show after show, teachings after teachings. And I would love it. And I would do it for free if somebody asked me to. In fact, that's kind of what I do. Now, I go to work, and it was tough. And it was tough listening and talking to the men. And they're human beings. These are men. I am sick and tired of racism in America. And it's in all forms. And the Hispanic people, the Mexican people, and South American people, the Latinos, are human beings. And so are the black people, and so are the Asians, and so are anybody else on this world. We all share in one thing, that we are alike. We are human. And we should treat each other as though we were humans. And I noticed there at this company I was working for, they have literally gone the extra mile to no longer consider these people humans or workers, but flat out slaves, working them 18, 15, 70 hours a week. And you sacrifice to gain money, but you lose your family. You're never home to be a father. And Tuesday we were working, and we had to do 2 miles, a 2-mile long stretch road. And we're going to crack fill it. All the little cracks, you take this hot rubber and you pour it over the cracks, and that seals the crack, preventing water and erosion to continue to make the crack either bigger or worse, and it prolongs the life of the road for another few more years. And that way you don't have to replace the entire road, but get the maximum driving experience you can on that road. Right? Well, after putting in a 12-hour day, and that's why I'm making this message, and then I'm going to read a little bit here from 1 Corinthians about how the Bible is reality. I lived this out, and how is this reality in our world? And so yesterday we were working, which was June 5th, and or not June 5th, but June 4th. Excuse me, we're 2 days gone now. June 4th. Machine breaks down, but not only that, at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, the supervisor comes over and says, "Oh, I forgot to read the contract." So we have to redo everything that we've already done because we didn't do it as according to the contract. Well, this is after we've already started working at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you go all the way till 7:30 at night was when it finally finished. And I'm an old man. Look at me. I'm an old man. And I've also done that kind of work for 20 years of my life. And that's where I came from. I came from out of there to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. And then, like an idiot, go back to make peace with my adversaries. And sure, they give you a job, but at what cost? And the treatment of people, and I like the people of Egypt, 400 years of slavery, and I couldn't do one day of it. I couldn't do one day of it, and I felt terrible for the men who were being subject to this abuse. During that 18 hours of work, there was no water, had no water. It was a 100-degree day. You have to heat this material up to 350 degrees in order to put it on the ground. It is a molten lava type rubber. It's got a little sand and different stuff mixed in it. Now, this machine stops working properly. So the supervisor has these grown men dipping, and you have no choice. You either do it or you don't have a job here, and you got to finish this job no matter what cost it takes out of you. And this is how we end up at 18-hour day, no water, no breaks, no bathroom breaks. And how do you treat another human like that, and then have them dipping their arms inside of this machine in order to get this job done at whatever cost it is? So a supervisor doesn't have to expose his failure, all for the sake of one man's pride. Don't want nobody to know he didn't read the contract. Didn't want nobody to know he made a mistake. And yet these men were punished for another person's mistake. Dipping their hands, unprotected hands and face, into a machine that was clearly dangerous to their lives. One man even burnt his arm on his wrist. As a people who own businesses, you got to recognize it and understand, you as a owner or business owner or slave master, you need to respect your workers in the same way you expect to be respected. You know, each person matters. And at 7:30, they still had 2 more hours to go. They were going to work till 9 o'clock at night, into the dark. And with no lights, no nothing, and working with black material and the black of a night, it's impossible to do. Yet, the willingness to not even see or acknowledge a human being, a father, a husband, a person, but just simply machines, robots. And to me, it was flat-out racism. You have a white man bossing around 4 other men who are Hispanic and treating them as though they were subhuman. And that's tough in this world. And me, at 7:30, I break down, and I had enough after 18 hours. And I told all the men, we're going home. We've done enough. You've done the best you could. And then I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm preaching to them, telling each one of them, hey, man, don't you believe you matter? Don't you believe that you're important, that you're human, you're fathers, you're dads, you are men. Grow some balls, I tell them. Grow some balls and be a man and say, I matter. And all of them are like, whoa, this guy. And one guy says, who do you think you are? Where is this coming from? These are not even a language we know. talking to these Mexican men, and like, you matter. Who says that in the United States of America? And coming from a white guy? They were blown away. They didn't know what to say. And so I told them, I'm heading to the yard. We did the best we could, and we did all we could do. I'm going to finish tomorrow or another time. And that's okay. And all of them were afraid to be fired. I said, I'd take the responsibility. I couldn't stand to watch them suffer any longer. I'll take the responsibility. And I'll get fired. And they won't shed a tear, and I won't shed a tear. But I can't, if for humanity's sake, allow you guys to work any further, go on any longer without water, without a break, without nothing. And they're dying in a heat stroke. I was sick the entire day yesterday because of extreme dehydration. And I'm still trying to hydrate my body. Working people into the ground. It's like a sweatshop here in the United States of America. And those are things we think happen out there in a third world country, but no, it happens right here. And the sad thing is these people will have a family. They have to feed them. But at what cost? I mean, don't you want to enjoy your family? Don't you want to love your family? And I refuse to hurt myself for the sake of money. And I pray and hope that you would all understand that. Another human being has more value than money. They're valuable. They're fathers. They're dads. They're husbands. They're friends. They're people. And they deserve to be treated as though they were people. And so I no longer have a job. And I stood up, and I'm going to stand up for their rights to be treated like human beings, just like the rest of us. It's ridiculous. Why was I get out of the gospel? Maybe it was to be a witness. See, that's the thing. I've always thought of myself as a witness, not a preacher, not a prophet. I'm just David, and I'm sharing with you my experiences, what I've seen, what I've experienced, what I've heard. I'm sharing that with you. Sharing my life with you so that you could learn and apply maybe some of the failures or some of the things that I've done in my life and help your own life. I saw a thing one day, wouldn't it be nice if we lived in a better world? And then guys, go back to look through history. Go 200 years ago and see that world. 500 years ago and see what kind of world they were living there. Go back 3,000, 4,000 years ago and look at what kind of a world they were living in that time. And then we come to our world and say, oh, I wished we had a better world. At what generation on earth did they ever have electricity, refrigeration, hot shower, clean water? And yet we're wanting a better world. And if the world we have today isn't good now, well, what's good? What is better? What would better look like? And sometimes we're so complacent. And the only thing that's going to make a better world is when you or I believe yourself, that you're worthy of the goodness of God. And marriage is a blessing. Having children is a blessing. Spending time with your family is a blessing. Don't sacrifice yourself or your family for the sake of money. Now keep all that in mind, and I hope you're still listening. Chapter 10 of 1 Corinthians. And I just want to back up just a little bit and go to chapter 9, verse 24. Let's start right there. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? And he's talking about the Olympics, right? And there in Athens, they had the Olympics, and that's where it was invented. And so today, as a track star, as the Olympians, you got people from all over the world enter into the Olympics, from every country, but only one man wins the gold medal. And yet they run and they practice, and look how the athletes strengthen their bodies, condition their lungs, don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs, train to manufacture the best, most sound body that they can produce in order to win that race. And then look at what they do. And they do all that for a perishable thing, gold. Gold is perishable. Everything is perishable. We run a race for the imperishable. That, which lasts forever. And will not rust, and will not rot, cannot be taken, cannot be stolen, but is imperishable, and it is yours, and it's yours forever. Or a boxer. Like, we look at all the boxers. And again, he's comparing to the Olympics, and we don't just fight and box in air. Same with our religion. We're not have the sword of God, which is the word of God, and then take our sword and just flailing away in the air. But no, we're doers of the word, not hearers of the word. And one of the problems with me and why I can't have a normal job in the world, I have to be the boss. I'm sick, I have mental illness or something, I don't know. But I have to be the boss. It's my way or the highway. And the reason I like that, I guess, is because I always think I'm doing it the right way. And I don't like watching other people do it the wrong way. And I think I can do it better. And where does my wisdom come from? God. God's way is the best way. Being honest. Being a person of good integrity. Standing up for righteousness. Standing against injustice. This is things that make me who I am. I feel like when I was there, I felt like I was Moses. Some guy is like, who do you think you are? Another guy says, well, I ain't tripping, but all like saying I was tripping or something, but all of them were befuddled, bewildered. They didn't even know, like, who are you and why are you preaching to us and telling us we matter and we're good men and this has nothing to do with work. And you're right. But it has everything to do with the fact I can take authority, but I can't stand it when people of authority use it to abuse good people for no reason, for the sake of one man's pride. Listen to this as he goes on. They do it to receive a perishable wealth, but we an imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly, I do not box as one beating the air, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. In other places, Paul writes that neither death, nor principalities, famine, war, anything can take him away from the love of God. And that here he says, I myself could be disqualified. And in that, I think what he's saying is let us not be found worthless or useless. I worked in that road construction for 20 years of my life. Not just worked in it, but at some point, and a lot of it, I was running the show. And yet when we were working yesterday, this person, the supervisor, doesn't allow your experience, doesn't want your opinions, doesn't want anything. Grab a flag or be the stop-go guy and go on down the road and you stand down there. And just a complete insult to another man's intelligence. We don't need your help. Go down there, old man. And yet they had to redo that road 3 times because they couldn't do it right the first 2 times. And I was just the lowest man on the ladder. And it's tough. Nobody listened to you. You get disqualified. When people see you as your wisdom is worthless. Your value. And where does our value come from? Not from the people of this world. Not from money. Our value comes from God and God alone. And that's what we're racing to achieve. Putting our faith and seeing it become a reality. Because faith is evidence that what we believe has yet to be seen. It doesn't exist until we see it. And we believe one day it will exist. But it hasn't yet. For I do not want you to be unaware, brothers, that our fathers were all under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and all were baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. And all ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same